Hey drummers, Garey Williams is back with another reaction and analysis video. And today's video, I'm going to be listening to one of my favorite drummers, Omar Hakim. So let's check out the great Omar. This guy is just so cool. Here we go. I think. Nice. Nice. All right. Awesome. Love this guy's funky displaced mix of downbeat, offbeat, kind of displaced accents, the funk fusion kind of blend. And just to look at his kit setup, I was way into Omar for a very long time, especially late Weather Report when he was recording with him, and then particularly on Sting. When the Police broke up and Sting started a solo career, his first album called Dream of the Blue Turtles featured Omar Hakim on drums. And that's when I got introduced to his playing, which was phenomenal. And in fact, at the time, Sting was on, I guess, an MTV interview, and someone asked him, Gordon, because his real name is Gordon Sumner, but he goes by Sting. There's history to that. And what are you doing starting a jazz band? Because he was doing his solo career, and he had Kenny Kirkland on piano, Omar Hakim on drums, Gerald Jones on bass, and then he had the great Branford Marsalis on soprano and saxophone. So these guys were known for playing with Miles Davis, Weather Report, all these jazz fusion artists. And so, of course, people thought, well, naturally, I'm going to be starting some kind of a jazz fusion band because I got all these jazz fusion players. But he said, no, this is not a jazz band. He said, it has nothing to do with jazz music. He said, the reason I selected jazz musicians is because when I describe something, they have the capability to play what I describe. So if you go back and watch this Bring On the Night, which is a documentary on Sting's developing career with this band when he first started his solo career. It's in a castle that he owns in London, which still has tours. It's kind of funny. There's a scene in this where you can see these old ladies coming in while he's rehearsing with his band. And they're plugging their ears. But, he does what he does. And it was amazing to see him describe some of the kinds of grooves that he was hearing for his tunes. So if you check out that first album of Sting's, The Dream of the Blue Turtles, you're going to hear some amazing Omar Hakim groove playing in a reggae feel, 6/8 feel, 3/4 feel, a good up-tempo kind of shuffle. Shadows in the Rain, which was on the Zenyatta Mendata Police album, was apparently envisioned by Sting to be as fast as he wanted to perform it on the Dream of the Blue Turtles album, but Stuart Copeland wanted it to be slower, and so they ended up recording it that way. That's the story I heard. So anyways, I'll shut up. Let's listen. Nice, great singles. Nice feel changes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2. Nice hand. Left foot in. Chick, 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 chick. This is what I always liked. Hi-hat, 8-note movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Whoa! 6-stroke rolls. 1, 2. so funky. T, 1, 2 is where the time is, boom. So the whole time, there's a very strong groove. All these really fantastic multi-style drummers understand pulse, and if you're going to play music, you got to have a pulse. The pedestrians have to know where the time is when there's something going on, like the hi-hat keeping time, and then all the displacements. Very polyrhythmic. This part here that I just paused is very Steve Gadd influenced, in my opinion. Really, Steve Gadd is the grandfather of contemporary drumming, just like Bill Bruford is like the grandfather of progressive rock drumming. And then there's other, quote, grandfathers of different eras of drumming. But certainly this guy is influenced by Gadd, who couldn't be with that kind of displaced open hi-hat barks. Just a lot of very funky syncopation. So let's pick it up from here. Back to the hi-hat, 8 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost 6/8. Jeez. They're almost like Swiss Army triplets on top. Blata, blata, blata. Really cool polyrhythmic stuff, but a lot of that kind of flam rudiment stuff spread between the snare and the toms, where he's kind of, pronouncing the accented notes, sometimes the rim shots, the unaccented notes, more snare center hits. Good old China. Those are like 5s. Double time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Wow, Omar. This guy is such an awesome drummer and a very musical drummer. God, I just love his playing. Just really was into checking him out quite a lot. I remember that summer when that album came out with Sting, The Dream of the Blue Turtles. I listened to it over and over. This was back when, before CD players, so you would record the disc onto 2 sides of the cassette tape, so you didn't have to rewind it and chew up your batteries. And I was working, doing some outdoor construction, so all day long I would just listen to that album over and frickin' over, just to study all the tracks, pick up everything, basically ingest the sound of all the grooves, so that when I sat down to play them, I could actually really understand them. So getting to where you really study recorded examples. See, this is back in the day with records, where you would often listen to an entire body of music, at least one whole side, before people started selecting individual songs, like this kind of the trend today. Nothing wrong with that. You would actually find that there's some more creative music on the alternative songs than the radio airplay stuff. And from my experience talking to some people, it's typically the case where there's like a popular song that the pedestrians like, and then there's the more creative stuff that you can do that the artists like, that isn't quite the the fast food market for the music. But I absolutely love Omar's playing. You can hear him on some earlier recordings with Mike Minieri Quartet live in New York if you search it out. Just amazing drummer, multi-styled. In fact, I saw him at a clinic once, and he gave an example of how competitive the scene was at the time in New York some years ago, where a guy calls up and said, "Hey man, I need a drummer to do a gig in 3 weeks, and it's a reggae gig. Can you play reggae beats?" And he said, "Yeah man, I can play reggae beats." And the guy said, "Okay, I got you down for the gig." He said, "Great." He said, "I didn't know anything about reggae, but after I hung up the phone, I ran down to Tower Records and bought some Bob Marley and a bunch of different reggae albums, and for the next 2 or 3 weeks, I shedded playing reggae along with these albums, and by the time the gig came, I had it down." So that's the kind of bold tenacity that some of these musicians have, which is that they're given this request, and if they don't know it, they'll actually give them the assignment to go out and learn it. Now you have to be really having an appetite to want to keep expanding to do that. I think a lot of musicians get into a comfort zone in terms of kinds of music they want to play, and they just stay in their little comfy zone, and there's nothing wrong with that either. I'm just thoroughly impressed with drummers that can be amazing drummers. Not good stylized drummers, but they can play every style and they can play them all very well. And so there's something that they bring to the plate that other drummers that just stick to styles don't. As much as I love great rock drummers, jazz drummers, funk drummers, Latin drummers, I love these guys that can do everything because they just have something a little bit more to bring to any style because of the diversity of styles that they've actually developed in their drumming. So I hope you like this. Omar's great. Check him out. Love this guy. Check out all their instructional videos. For some of you guys, check out their early instructional videos. They really explain what they're doing. So if you're into a drummer, I would recommend taking the time to go back and doing some research and really study. Get their educational materials, their videos, the DVDs now, and learn as much as you can and just assimilate because it'll just make your drumming that much better. So if you liked it, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends. If you want lessons, the information's in the text box below, and then I'll see you on the next reaction and analysis video. Till then, have a great day. Bye-bye.